All right. As I indicated before, I'm going to do a quick prepared statement because there are a couple things I want to say about this case, but there's also a message I want to deliver to the media. I think both are very important. So on the prepared statement, as you have already learned, the Sparks Police Department has provided some information on this particular case. They talked about the individual involved in yesterday's incident in the hills above Spanish Springs, and that individual was Washoe County Sheriff's Deputy Robert A. Brunsvold. It's B-R-U-N-S-V-O-L-D, Brunsvold. The deputy is a 10-year veteran of the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. At this time, he has been placed on administrative leave, pending the outcome of the investigation that is being conducted by the Sparks Police Department. I want you to know and the public to know that our primary commitment in this instance, and as always, is the safety and security of the community. In this particular instance, everything that we did in conjunction with our sister agencies, Reno and Sparks, continued to ensure that the public was safe from the incident that occurred in the Spanish Springs hillside. We are also concerned with the health and well-being of those officers that respond to incidents such as this. As you may know, and do know, this is not an unusual incident with respect to human beings. And in this case, the deputy sheriff acted as in similar to others who are having challenges in their lives. But when deputy sheriffs respond to those, or Reno officers, Sparks officers, they are put in jeopardy, and so our next commitment is to them and to their safety. The deputy must answer for any crimes committed during this incident. We hope that he can find a resolution to the issues that he faces along the path to resolution of both the criminal case and his own individual challenges. There is little that I can say about the incident itself. As you know, that it is under investigation by the Sparks Police Department. You're also aware that both the Sparks Police Department, Washoe County Sheriff's Office, Reno Police Department, all have a protocol that they follow with respect to any incident that where a weapon is present. In this case, that protocol dictates that another agency investigate this case, and the most likely agency was the agency of jurisdiction where the incident occurred, and that was the Sparks Police Department. Before I take questions about this particular case, I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the professionalism of those of you in the local media in covering this incident. I am well aware of the large amount of chatter that has occurred on social media over the last day, and I appreciate your willingness to hold off on publication of the name of the deputy until an investigating agency could follow protocol and release information as is important to that process. This patience on your part, even as you were receiving pressure from your viewers to say more about the incident, helps to preserve the integrity of this particular investigation and ensures that all protocols are adhered to and are necessary to the conclusion of this case. We have a criminal case. The Sparks Police Department was the agency on review of the case that determined that criminal charges were appropriate and necessary. And we will, based on our protocol, allow that criminal case to proceed forward. As I said before, the deputy has been placed on administrative leave. That upon release from the facility, from this facility, a detention facility, he will be noticed of that administrative leave. He will be then directed to a fitness for duty, which is also a process that the Washoe County Sheriff's Office uses to ensure that both The criminal case is addressed, and his fitness to continue employment as a deputy sheriff is decided by the appropriate medical authority. He has been charged with two crimes. One is obstructing and resisting with the use of a firearm. That is a felony charge. And then in possession of a firearm while intoxicated. Those cases, once it is submitted to the district attorney's office, will be reviewed by the district attorney's office. And once that case is moved to the district attorney's office, as per our policy, will make further comment relative to the criminal side of the case. With respect to the individual's placement on administrative leave and his fitness for duty, there are some HIPAA issues that I have to abide by that are appropriate in this case and any case involving issues where someone takes drastic moves, as this deputy did. So I have to balance the public's right to know with the criminal case, and also with the HIPAA standards that are federal standards that guide me in this regard. But I will attempt to answer any questions that you have as long as I can maneuver around those three basic challenges that I have. So thank you very much.
Is it administrative leave with pay?
It will be administrative leave with pay until such time as we are able to digest all of the issues surrounding this case, and then our legal staff will make recommendation to me whether or not that is changed to administrative leave without pay. There, again, are certain processes that we have to follow that give us the strongest case as we proceed to the conclusion.
And when you talked about your agency responding, and I don't, obviously you're talking about this because it's someone under your watch, a deputy sheriff.
That's correct.
Is there concern, maybe perception by the public, it was handled differently because it was one of their own? You know what I mean? Is there something like that that you want to clear up? Or these cases always where law enforcement shows up and somebody's allegedly intoxicated and has a gun, that's a very dangerous situation for you guys.
Well, absolutely. In this particular instance, a call was made to dispatch by the deputy sheriff, similar to the public making a call for help to dispatch. Once that occurred, our personnel contacted the deputy sheriff as we would in any other case, and as soon as we believed that there was a larger issue for both us and the public if we had not responded in the way we did, we acted in the same way we would react in every case, whether it was a deputy sheriff or whether it was a public non-deputy asking for help.
Were there any signs leading up to this that he wasn't fit for duty, or nothing to indicate that at all?
Not that I'm aware of at all.
Had he been disciplined for anything, or anything you can talk about that?
You know, discipline obviously is a private affair, but I don't have access right now to that file. But to my memory, there is nothing in this deputy's background that would give us any reason to believe that he would have acted the way he did in this particular case. I think what we need to do is look at this also as a teaching moment. You all know that we are headed into holiday season, where any pressures that we have on for each of us can sometimes be compounded. And so I think we all ought to watch the community for issues such as this that generally occur around this time of year.
You said the officer-involved shooting protocol was initiated. The protocol was initiated, correct? Or?
Well, because no shooting of another person occurred, parts of that protocol were not relevant. But because this is a weapon exhibited in an angry moment, we activated parts of our protocol that would indicate that this agency would not do the criminal investigation. This agency would not be involved in the arrest process, that we made sure that we stepped back from all of that.
But he was off duty, you can say that he was off.
He was off duty, yes.
The weapon that this gentleman had on him, was it the weapon that he normally would carry as his service weapon?
Yeah, that's part of the criminal investigation about what was taken as evidence in that case, and obviously that would come out from Sparks as part of their overall investigation.
As a deputy, I mean, is he in the jail right now?
Yes.
So is there, do you have to put him in someplace else? I mean, are they kind of in danger because they are law enforcement and they're stuck down with people they arrest?
Well, anyone that gets arrested for any purpose and comes into this facility, regardless of the arresting agency, they are seen by a contract medical staff here. And that contract medical staff would have, by normal process, seen that deputy. And in this case, that occurred. What will happen, though, is that we will direct that deputy to more fitness for duty evaluations that will be part of the medical process, which I'm not able to discuss.
But I mean, as he's in there now, it would, you have a law enforcement person in it.
Yes.
It'd be like sending a policeman to prison. I mean, they've got to take certain precautions. Is that the case with him?
Yeah, our classification unit.
Mhm.
In this particular case, I doubt whether that deputy would have been housed at all. And that classification is aware of the individual and his contact or his association as a deputy sheriff here. So that person would be separated and isolated from other population.
What kind of psychological and counseling services are provided for sheriff's deputies? I mean, I know can you talk a little bit about that?
Well, we have two things. Critical response unit and peer support group is an internal part of our organization. Sergeant Seeley, who is here today, manages that unit. That's an internal process, but this deputy will be directed to medical review, and that medical review will be consistent with any review that's necessary to come to a conclusion about his ability to work in the public safety profession.
With and I don't know if this is such a case that goes beyond, would the deputies that responded, and I guess you can have this at any time, a call disturbs you for some reason, is that type of service available to the deputies that responded to this individual?
Absolutely. And in these kinds of cases, sometimes you're actually talking to someone you know very well, and that is an emotional toll. So those folks will be offered an opportunity to sit with professionals that will walk them through the whole process of recovering from that particular contact.
And he's no longer listed on the website?
Pardon me?
He's no longer listed on inmate website? Any specific reason for that?
I do not know the answer to that question, but before we leave here, I'll have Mr. Harmon check that. So when you say website, our arrest
Inmate,
profile?
Sure, yeah, so you say he's still in custody, but I know you
Yeah.
guys just took him
You know,
offline for...
in the process of this morning, that depending on what was found out, he can bail, he can bond, he can be released on OR, depending on a lot of issues and circumstances. So at the precise moment now, I don't know where he is. I mean, he could be processing out. I don't know.
Did he actually take shots at deputies or a helicopter? There was talk about how he like threatened to.
No, he did not take shots at anyone. And I will tell you, throughout this whole process, it is our belief that the deputy had no intention of harming anyone. But we still take it very seriously. The helicopter was close, and our personnel were close. You know, I believe I need, though, to have Sparks release the countdown about any shots that may have been taken or not taken.
You know, approximately how many people responded to this call? In general, more than, about 40?
You know, you have a deputy sheriff that is having challenges, and given the circumstances of those challenges, our operational assistant sheriff made good decisions about the level of response. Obviously, we wanted to keep this situation isolated to a non-occupied area of a mountain. We didn't want this to move anywhere. So in the judgment of the assistant sheriff, along with consultation from the Reno and Sparks Police Department, enough assets were allocated to this to ensure that individual, that deputy, was not able to move from where he was, which was a safe place for this to carry out and come to a conclusion.
Oh, Sheriff, was he showing any sign of being stressful at work, or maybe he attended some crime that gave him this type of stress?
Yeah. You know, not to my knowledge, and not that I have been told about. Oftentimes, even in, outside of the public safety world, unfortunately, we find that people don't articulate some inner challenges that they're having until they take some drastic action. I don't think this case is any different from what happens in a normal public environment. The only difference is this deputy is a trained officer. He was armed, and we felt we needed to respond in a way that isolated that incident.
He's currently on, you said, paid administrative leave. Could that change possibly within the next few weeks, or where do you guys kind of go from here?
I follow legal guidance from here, both my internal legal guidance, the district attorney's legal guidance, in order to make sure that I make the right decisions at the right time. So what we do is we step this. We put him on paid administrative leave, which is a way of getting him to the help he needs right away. We don't exacerbate that by putting him on unpaid administrative leave unless and until the circumstances dictate that. And if I am given information that would be necessary, then that would be the next action I could take.
So just want to be clear really fast. The OIS protocol is initiated. I asked that question before. I just want to know a little more idea on what, so other than the fact that your office is stepping back. That's
Yes.
how it kind of resembles an officer-involved shooting, correct?
Yes.
But that's it, basically.
That's it. I mean, we did not have, normally in an officer-involved shooting incident, we have an officer that is involved with the public in a shooting environment. This is a little different, in which we had a deputy who was involved in an incident where a weapon was at play. So we felt that it was best to follow parts of this officer-involved shooting protocol to give, one, to ensure that someone else had oversight of this case, and not the Washoe County Sheriff's Office. That's what that protocol is all about. It's to ensure that public knows that we don't investigate ourselves. So Sparks takes the case, they take the criminal case, and quite frankly, I think even in the hills where they were at, it was a Sparks jurisdiction. Close. Yeah.
He was in and out.
Who's in and out?
Yeah.
Have you ever run into a situation like this before, where an off-duty cop is engaged in this sort of circumstance?
Well, unfortunately, folks, in my 34 years here, there have been deputy sheriffs that have taken their lives. This is a very difficult business, and just like yours. And the demands are high, and we're all human beings, and so we have suffered incidents such as this in the past. And this time, thank God, we were able to, using lots of resources, reason with the deputy, and it ended in a way that we had hoped, with the deputy giving up and turning his weapons over to us.
Are the counseling and psychological services that the department provides enough then, or does that make you rethink how effective that is, or a change in that? Or?
You know, when you get hired here, you have a psychological exam. But I will tell you that over the course of 10, 20, 30 years, you see things, involved in things that add challenges to your psychological well-being, and it could be that, or it could be just a challenge that he faced, that all of us face. And that's where that will be all discussed and identified during the private medical reviews and examinations you'll have. Any other questions?
Anything, I mean, any message for the public or anything you want to say at all?
Well, again, in my prepared statements, I thank you for your measured approach to watching how this unfolded, and for informing the public. And I thank the public for understanding that we do have a balancing act here. One, they're the most important person that we have to care about right now, the public. That's who we're here to serve. Two, we do need to provide this deputy with all of the help and caring that are humanly possible that we provide to any one of us in the community. And three, the community needs to know that if the judicial process that's this deputy's facing finds that there's a criminal act that that occurred, then we will take the necessary actions that would require after that judicial process concludes. All righty. Thank you very, very much. I appreciate it.